There's actually a couple of guys in some races, and preseason, I would not have thought that the Reds had a person who was really going to challenge for Rookie of the Year. I thought that Jonathan India looked, interesting, but I did not expect him to be this good. And if you ask me, and if you ask Vegas, because I can't find, maybe there's something. BetOnline.ag doesn't have one, but maybe there's another website out there that might have this. I didn't see any odds on currently NL Rookie of the Year candidates. That leads me to believe Jonathan India is the odds on favorite. He's been phenomenal, nothing short of phenomenal all season long. He's actually in the top 10. Like if you look at National League on base stats, he's in the top 10 of that. That's not just rookies, that's everybody. I think he's eighth in on base percentage for the entire National League. He has been absolutely phenomenal. The slugging has really come along as of late, so he's rounded himself out into a very good hitter. Talking about, depending on where you look, on Fangraphs, he has a little bit more WAR. On Baseball Reference, he's got 2.7 wins above replacement. Just a phenomenal year. I want to do a segment. I didn't plan this for today, but in a podcast down the road, I'd kind of like to compare him to other Reds rookies. I'd be interested to see how he stacks up through the rookie performances that the Reds have seen in their long storied franchise history. But Jonathan India has been phenomenal. And I love how gritty he is, how hard he plays. You can tell that he wants to be out there. There's not a situation that Jonathan India is just like, yeah, I think I might kick back with a Gatorade here on the bench. He got blasted in the wrist with that pitch on Wednesday, and it actually kind of hurts my wrist even just thinking about it. And I think this isn't even the right wrist because I'm a lefty and he's a righty. So whatever. Anyway, he absolutely looked like he could have stayed out of that game, but he was determined to be there for his team, and he's been so phenomenal for the Reds all year long. Kind of mentioned he's gone through that mini slump. He hopefully broke out of it yesterday. We'll see what he can do. He liked that Marlins series. We'll see if he can get him some more this weekend down in Miami, but I gotta believe. I know that Trevor Rogers has had a nice year, but he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. I know that there's been some other dudes you kind of think of Jazz Chisholm, you think of Lars Nootbaar, who, sure, he's got a great name, but he hasn't been better than Jonathan India. Dylan Carlson, Brian Hayes, all those guys have had nice seasons. Jonathan India has had a great season. And so long as he continues to stay healthy and produce at the level that he has all year long, I think he's going to take home that hardware. On the other side of the equation is the MVP race. And it's interesting because one dude, according to betonline.ag, is far and away favored, and that is Fernando Tatis. In fact, his odds right now, if you were to go bet on the impending National League MVP, I almost said Cy Young again. I constantly say Cy Young. I got that stuck on the brain. But if you were to go bet on that at betonline.ag, Tatis is minus 350, which means they have him as a huge favorite. Joey's on there. He's at plus 1,200. And Castellanos is on there as well. He's at the bottom of the list. So they've got about like 8 names that you can bet on. He's at the bottom at plus 5,000. That injury really kind of set him back so far as the MVP race is concerned. But he's still tied for the NL batting title right now with Trey Turner. Both of them have a 320 average. Would love to see if Castellanos can finish the season with that batting title. You look at Joey Votto, he's tied for third in the National League in home runs. He's behind Tatis. Tatis has 35, and then Pete Alonso has 29, and Joey, I think it's Freddie Freeman. No, Bryce Harper have 28 home runs on the season. So I'm not sure that either one of those guys can eclipse what Tatis has done because you have the success that the Padres have had. Yes, I know that the Reds are ahead of them, which we love. Now 2 games ahead because the Padres got swept by the Dodgers at home. That was a rough series for them, but the Reds are now 2 games ahead of them for the second wild card spot. And there's 2 schools of thought. There's the best player and there's the best. I forgot these pictures. Look at this. I got this great Joey Votto picture. But when it comes to Joey and when it comes to Nick Castellanos and their arguments for MVP over Fernando Tatis, I think the biggest thing that they've got going for them is the success of their team and how important they have been. Castellanos has been on a home run tear here recently, and Joey Votto, I mean, we all know how good he's been. He's been on a little bit of a downswing over the last week or so. I think that he's going to pick it back up, though. And I mean, he's just been so much far and away better than we thought he was going to be this year. I just love the fact that we're even talking about this, that he is in the MVP conversation at the age of 37. I think, I mean, if you remember back to some of my off-season podcasts, and maybe if you weren't listening back then, I had this thought that maybe the Reds should think about a platoon at first base, like do like Tyler Stevenson against lefties, Joey against righties, and things like that. Joey's proved all of that wrong. I mean, he's still hitting lefties pretty well, and he's hitting everybody else amazingly. So you're not. The fact that I even thought that in the offseason now, it just makes me laugh. But that's where we were over the last couple of years. So the fact that he's played this well in 2021 is just a testament to how good he is. And Castellanos, I mean, the odds at plus 5,000, you could put a little bit of money on that. And if he were to sneak up and win it, I just think that Tatis, and especially depending on how the Padres finish, Tatis has a really good argument because they're such a good team when he's there. And when he's out of the lineup, they're an okay team. It's not as if one guy in the sport of baseball makes a team, i.e., the Angels and Mike Trout, and now the Angels and Shohei Ohtani, since Mike Trout's been out for most of the year. But one guy doesn't make a team, but with as decent of a lineup as they put together, when you add Tatis to it, it just takes it to a whole nother level. And when you take him out, they're just okay. So I understand why he is the favorite, but I do think Joey and Castellanos have a puncher's chance in this race. And plus 5,000, it's a little bit of an interesting value you might want to take a look at.